Well, so much for a quiet night. The Hornets did not have a second-round pick in the draft, but they made the biggest headline of the draft. And I'm counting the Giannis trade as before the draft. So at the end of a pretty quiet and ho-hum night 2 of the NBA draft, ESPN's Shams Charania gets up there and reports that the Hornets are in talks, engaged with, quote, aggressive teams who are in pursuit of LaMelo Ball. I don't know anybody who can tell you with a straight face that they saw this coming tonight, especially with the season LaMelo Ball just had. It was, besides his All-Star season, the best of his 6 NBA seasons. He played 72 games, which was just below his career high of 75. He averaged 20 points a game, about 5 rebounds, about 7 assists. It was quite obvious that when he was on the floor, this team went. And when he was not, they didn't, until they got Coby White. And perhaps this clears up some of that situation. Maybe Coby White is such a huge priority this offseason, not to be the 6th man, but to potentially be the starting point guard. Let's just take a beat here, if we can, in this frenetic world of NBA trade talk. These are just, talks, or the Hornets are engaged in talks. So, they're picking up the phone and they're listening, which they probably should for just about anybody on the roster, but I would have thought that LaMelo would be included in the untouchables along with Brandon Miller and Con Knippel. Some reports have the Toronto Raptors and Minnesota Timberwolves as the very interested parties. You're going to get future first-round picks for LaMelo. The Hornets already have a boatload of future firsts. They had 11 over 7 years going into the draft, which by, deduction after using 2 of them would mean they have 9 over the next 7 years. They're big chips, but, how many are you going to sit on? And losing an all-star point guard, that means so much to your team, and really the team is built around him and is also so popular with fans in Charlotte and across the country and around the world. So it would be a stunner. It would be the second biggest move of the offseason in the NBA, and that would probably hold if it happens. And, I'm just not sure what the Hornets would get back player-wise, and they need star players. So is there a third team involved? I doubt this would involve Anthony Edwards coming back to Charlotte, but it'd be insane to know that he and LaMelo would be on the same team if it's indeed Minnesota, mate. So yes, there are good players on both Minnesota and Toronto. If those are the 2 teams that this comes down to, are any of them at LaMelo Ball's level? I don't think so. But it'll be interesting to see what the Hornets do here. And, LaMelo Ball is part of the prior regime's plan for the Hornets. We have been wondering if he is in the plans for Jeff Peterson's Hornets, this ownership group's Hornets, and if they trade him, clearly not. And it's going to be interesting regardless of what happens. Either they're going to trade him or they're not, and if they don't, and all of this got out in such a big way, LaMelo, who has been steadfast, and every time a mic's in front of him, to his credit, he says he wants to be here and is participating every offseason and staying in Charlotte and working with the team. It'll be interesting to see how the relationship goes forward if they don't trade him.